I don't think I even need to say anything. I think my face says it all. For KTM have finally done it. They have launched the 390 Adventure in the spec which I've always wanted. So you have 30 clicks of compression, 30 clicks of rebound, and you also get rebound adjustability along with preload adjustability at the back. And the icing on the cake are the spoke wheels, so you can attack terrain like this with utmost confidence. Otherwise, in terms of specs, in terms of the tank capacity, the engine, everything is exactly the same. And if you have no idea why on earth I'm so excited about these changes, well, let's go and find out. I know I look completely destroyed because I am, and I want to do this all over again. That's how crazy, mad, fun this day has been. Started out with the road, which I did not expect too much of, to be honest, but even on the road, even with the damping in the sports setting, which is 10 clicks from the hardest and 5 clicks from the hardest for the rear rebound, it transformed the 390 Adventure for the road. The weight transfer was so much smoother, so you can brake that much harder, that much deeper into the corner. The front doesn't dive as much, so you're carrying also a lot more confidence going into the corner. And so now with this setup, it also makes you really greedy, in the sense now that you're starting to ask a lot out of the tires and out of the brakes. So previously, I've never had a problem with the organic brake pads on the 390 Adventure. Now, the way we were riding today, I really wanted sintered pads on this, so that you have a little more stopping power up front. And there was another interesting thing which I realized. I felt like even though the suspension was working really well, there was still this vague feeling, and that's probably down to the fact that this now gets spoke wheels which have a lot more give compared to alloys. But that's what I'm saying. I'm asking for ridiculous things now with the 390 Adventure, but that's the kind of step that the bike has made with the adjustable suspension. Also, this doesn't come at the cost of ride quality, because even a sportier setup, when you're riding over some fairly bad sections at higher speeds, the damping is so much better. Next, we came here to Pro Dirt, and it was incredible. We did some crazy laps here on the flat track, because what better place to really help you understand how connected you are to the front. Ended up having so much fun that I also had a fall, but again, it was not because of the front, it was because of the rear coming around and me not adapting to the surface, which changes lap after lap on a flat track. Then we of course took it to other sections, the faster sections, and there again the bike, when you're running a tighter geometry, sportier setup, when you're going over really fast rails, the transfer, the balance is also much higher. You can carry that much more speed on really fast rails and still feel really in control. And then when you go to the really technical sections, really rocky bits, you just have to reduce the damping a little bit. You have to basically go for a softer setting for the compression and the rebound, just a few clicks here and there, and you can feel the bike transform and absorb those bumps so much better. Same for the shock. Earlier in the sport settings on the rocky surface, it was kicking me out, but just a few clicks out and it was perfectly well balanced with the front. We did hit the limit of the suspension, especially when we sent it over the motocross track, the famous jump that they have here at Pro Dirt. And I did manage to bottom it out on several occasions. But I don't think I'm being fair to this motorcycle. It's not a motocross bike, it's an adventure bike, a sporty adventure bike, which is doing ridiculous things now that your expectations are just getting higher. But other than that, what I would like KTM to improve on is, first and foremost, the quick shifter still doesn't work. And I really hope they look into this traction control coming back on when you just use the kill switch and not switch off the entire ignition. That gets very annoying. That needs to be looked into because this problem has persisted for a long time. And another important ingredient which is missing in this package is a provision for the main stand. Even something which you can, just slot in with a axle and carry with you on a trail, because anyone who is stuck in the middle of nowhere on spoke tube type tires, they know what a pain it can be, and the main stand there comes very handy. So I think that is something which maybe KTM should look at even as a power part, but that I think is very crucial, especially now that this bike has opened up so much potential for you to go exploring. But overall, I am genuinely very impressed. This is the motorcycle essentially which KTM should have launched when they launched the 390 Adventure, but it is here and it genuinely is a complete package. It is very comfortable, even for the pillion once you set up the suspension now. I mean, that's the thing, right? You can tweak it for whatever it is that you intend to do with it. Set up the suspension and the bike will comply, because overall the chassis, the balance is phenomenal. And the fact that you can get the spoke wheels and the fully adjustable suspension for just 22,000 rupees more is ridiculous value. But if there are those of you who still think that 3.6 is too much of an ask for you, then KTM have also done a very smart thing by launching the Adventure X. Which is essentially the same motorcycle, the same engine, same everything, with a few parts missing. Mainly, you don't get an IMU, which means you don't get cornering, ABS, you don't get traction control, you get a normal dash, not a TFT dash, you don't get adjustable levers, you get big piston forks instead of the open cartridge forks that you have here, and of course you get alloys instead of spoke wheels. But if you're coming from a motorcycle like an X-Pulse and you want a little more power, a little more juice, and you're not already spoiled with electronics, then that makes a really convincing argument, especially for someone who's into touring, and doesn't really want to use it for hardcore off-road, because this is undoubtedly the option now. Maybe if you intend on pushing it, use the sporty character of the Adventure X. It's 100% recommended that you go for more stickier rubber. Even the 390 Duke, when KTM launched it, it did not get any electronics, but it did get Metzeler M5 W-rated tires, which definitely helped keep the rubber side down. But if you're also an enthusiast who has the money to buy this, this is undoubtedly my favorite bike now from the KTM stable.